Welcome to the Home Healthcare Today show. I am your host, Dr. Cleavon Moorer. It's June, and this will be a very special episode to start the month of June. We're thinking about the college graduates, the high school graduates, the trade school graduates, those completers out there. And I want to give them a special message because I understand that it's a very difficult job market and there's a lot of anxiety and some concerns out there about, hey, did I pick the right major? Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? I recently gave a TED Talk focused on the topic of how your major does not necessarily determine your future. Let's watch that TED Talk and then we'll come back with Q&A following that TED Talk. See you shortly. All right. How many of us remember being asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Show of hands. All right. How many did not know the answer? A show of both hands. All right. So, similar to most of you, when I was 17 years old, I was asked that same question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Not what do you want to become, right? So a guidance counselor, when I was 17, sat me down in high school and said, Clem, you got to figure this out. Pick a lane, pick a major, stay in it. All right. So I did that. I went off to university and I became an information scientist. But then life happened, like life happens for everyone, right? No one told me what no one is telling others, that most of our majors are really minor. There are millions of students that are sitting in high school classrooms, undergraduate classrooms around the world wondering, what will I become? So, as these students think about what they're going to become, there's something else we're not telling them. We're not telling them that they may change their jobs 12 to 15 times within a career. We're not telling them that in many cases, the World Economic Forum lets us know that your core job skills, they're going to change over the course of the next few years. McKinsey has told us that 375 million workers, their jobs, the work that they do is certainly going to change. So the paradigm has changed. It has certainly shifted. But what are we still doing? We're preparing students from Michigan to Mumbai, from Toledo to Thailand, from Flint to Frankfurt to prepare for a job, pick a major, stay in that job, and maybe one day you'll retire after 35 to 40 years from that company and get that gold watch, that 401k, or if you're really lucky, a Winnebago. That world is gone, and the most urgent, necessary, life-changing question, I don't know if we're all brave enough to build a new road, a new path for individuals. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about my mom. My late mother held multiple roles. I didn't know she was a CFIO, which is a Chief Fix-It Officer. I had no idea when she was driving me around as a youngster to various clinic appointments because, I had asthma and I had allergies, and I also had some vision issues growing up. So whether she was taking me to a pulmonologist appointment for my asthma, or whether she was taking me for my biweekly allergy shots, or even to an eye doctor, she was preparing me to think about and versus or. It's not as though she was split between multiple identities or having an identity crisis. She knew that she needed to be a mother and a wife. She realized that she was also a business owner, along with my dad, in a body shop called C&M Collision. I never knew what the ampersand was. I thought C was like dad, Clem, and M was mom, Clem and mom, running the shop. My mom was also a grant writer. She wrote a grant application to an organization that paid for the removal of my cataracts because I was born with congenital cataracts. She promised me that she would do all that she could to help me get through school if she could find someone to pick up that surgery. In turn, I promised her I would pay it forward. All right, so paying it forward for me today means I drive around Detroit and other parts of the state delivering vision in a mobile eye care unit. Because guess what? The folks who have vision health issues in many cases have been told to choose or. Walk into a clinic, get transportation to a clinic if you lack transportation, or go without access to vision. These individuals did not choose to have the inability to access vision, but we chose to close that gap. That's what full circle looks like. So students ask me, like, Dr. Moore, what is your gig? Like, dude, what do you do, right? So, simply put, I do a lot, right? But I do a lot because it's not and. The definition is simple. I'm an information scientist and a healthcare CEO and a professor of entrepreneurship and an entrepreneur in residence and a television show host every Saturday morning. A best-selling author, an AI inventor, a husband, and a father. And nearing the age of 50, I'm a registered nursing student. Now, it's not about me, it's about each of you. And it's about the millions of students that are out there struggling to try to develop their identity or answer the singular question, what will I be whenever I grow up? So there's this myth tied to or. Let's just go there, right? Pepsi or Coke, Monster or Red Bull or Celsius. Don't do and with any of those three. Vegan or vegetarian. Walk or run. The myth of or also ties into our careers. Are you going to be an engineer or an entrepreneur, a doctor or a teacher? The truth of and, you do not have to choose. Just keep becoming. Historically, Leonardo da Vinci. Hey, I'm going to develop a helicopter, if you're Leonardo da Vinci, and a parachute. Right. Now that's some proactive thinking, just in case this thing goes down. I got a plan. Da Vinci, a painter and an engineer, an anatomist and an inventor. All right, how about Benjamin Franklin, right? Printer and a diplomat and a scientist, a founding father. And what I have on today, the creator of bifocals. All right, Mae Jemison, another example, right? A doctor and an engineer, a dancer and an astronaut. They did not pick lanes like my mom didn't pick lanes. They built roads. All right, Adam Grant, a Wharton professor and organizational psychologist, spends a lot of time talking about the most interesting people. The most interesting people don't just stay in one particular lane. They think about things deeply, deeply enough to have the courage to change lanes. They connect the most distant dots. But oftentimes in the academy, whether it's vocational school or higher education, we teach students to specialize. The academy rewards depth, which is vertical, as opposed to breadth. But the world that we live in and the world that we are creating rewards integration. Who are the polymaths? Polymaths are the individuals that live at the intersection, that understand that their major may just define them or contain them. The antithesis to the misnomer that a jack of all trades is a master of none, I challenge that. The master of only one is oftentimes confined and defined by that. All right, so I got some questions to ask you, right? As you think about the journey, and you think about even Albert Einstein, right? Where Albert Einstein pointed to the illusion that our greatest power is the ability to change, like change our minds and change directions, right? As you think about Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, and Apple still being one of the most valuable tech companies in the world, combine calligraphy and music. Think about the questions. What skills do I need to build multiple careers? That's a paradigm shift for us. Those of us that are leaders in higher education, how can we prepare students to not only think about their electives, but to elect to believe that the major is simply a minor? What relationships do I need to cultivate across industries? Because I can't do it alone. I'm going to need the help of others. How do you create something that Google can't search for or ChatGPT can't articulate? And what does reinvention look like for you as you go back and think about being age 17 to what and who you have become over time? Vastly different than that 17-year-old. Another question, not what will I become, but how do I keep evolving? How do I stay courageous enough, curious enough, disciplined enough to do and to be more? Now, I'm not going to say that this is just a straight line path, and I'm not going to say that I always thought about being a polymath, and I'm not going to say that when we think about some of the most commonly used terms like be and to and of, those three words in the dictionary have greater popularity and use than the word and. I learned that when I struggled or whenever I actually failed. So I was in a pursuit of a vertical path to a college presidency that got derailed. Obviously and apparently, I have become more than a college president by being right? And in multiple respects. When a multi-million-dollar door closed in my face most recently, a couple of weeks ago, I decided to build something that same day. I didn't knock again, I didn't collapse, because like most of you, I realized that there had to be something bigger. There had to be something behind and beyond defeat and disappointment. Perhaps it was redirection. Because people who don't stand in the hallway waiting for the next opportunity build an entirely new room. The late W.E.B. Du Bois taught us, it's not what you will do, but it is who you will become doing it. My mom answered that question, right? A van today for me, a promise, a life fully unapologetic. And I'm still answering that question today. So what I want you to carry out of the room, it's not about the major. And for those that have already graduated years ago, you realize that perhaps that major was really minor. The most important work of your life will happen at the degrees and the intersection of your major. As you think about climate change is geopolitical, it's economic, it's social, and it's technological. As you think about providing access to healthcare for millions of individuals who do not have it, it's logistical and economic and medical and even spiritual for many. The second most powerful question goes back to that and. As long as you don't answer and with Red Bull and Celsius and Monster, you got the right answer. And thirdly, the world needs whole people building things that it has never seen. The future does not belong to a single major by design. It belongs to people who are brave enough to be whole. So as you exit, as you ponder over the weekend, what will you build? Who will you become in building it? And what are you waiting for? Thank you. I've heard that is a really inspiring TED Talk. I hope you agree. After this commercial, we'll come back for Q&A. Spring is a beautiful time in Detroit and Southeast Michigan. American Advantage Home Care brings that energy, joy, and vitality of the season right into your home, coupled with skilled home health care services. Our world-class team of clinicians can help you to thrive, maintain, and rebound in the comfort of your own home. Finding a home health care agency more compassionate and caring than American Advantage Home Care is a long shot. So the through line of my talk, according to one of the viewers, was that, hey, Dr. Moore, you honed in on skills and the ability to change and not necessarily the major. So the question that that particular viewer had is, when did I realize that I needed to change after pursuing a management information systems major and start thinking about entrepreneurship and public health and community development? Okay, so I want to say that it was earlier on in my career. I realized that with technology and being a management information systems major and working at AT&T, better yet, started at Ameritech, went to SBC and then AT&T, I realized early on that I needed to be a life learner in order to teach technology, in order to actively have a career in telecom. So if you think about the way that telecommunications has changed over the last decade, or let alone since I began my career over 25 years ago, if I didn't keep learning, I would be teaching the history of telecom versus how communications is carried on today. So I realized early on that I needed to be a lifelong learner within whatever discipline or industry. But secondly, telecom is not only housed in the technology realm. Telecom is in every industry, or communications is a part of every industry, right? So whether that be manufacturing, you're going to use information technology. In healthcare today, we use telecom. We use devices that work by way of signals and waves and wirelessly, even in this field. So I realized the pivot was necessary because I could not lock the application of technology solely into working for a telecom company, right? And if you're going to teach it, as I wanted to get into the higher ed field, I needed to continuously learn it and evolve into it. So I learned early on, get the skills, be ready to adapt quickly, and find out how your specialty or how your knowledge not only fits in the current organization or the current industry, but how can you use skills to solve larger societal problems? Second question posed by one of the viewers of the TED Talk. Dr. Moore, when you talk about this pivot to larger societal problems from telecom or looking at whatever career field a person takes, so like my liberal arts majors out there, right? Liberal is freedom, arts are skills. So as a liberal arts major, how do you take your skills and use freedom, the freedom to use those skills to solve problems? Start with one of your own personal problems. Mine was cataracts. I was born with congenital cataracts, right? June is also National Cataract Awareness Month. All right, so being born with congenital cataracts and my family not being able to afford the surgery early on, that presented a set of challenges and problems. My mom was insightful enough, as you saw in the TED Talk, she was insightful enough to reach out for help, and the community responded. Thus, onus a burden for me later in life was to also respond. We started Eye Care for Detroit, now doing business as Eye Care for Michigan, to get out there and reach those homebound residents and individuals who lack access to vision. So, yeah, take the pivot of a societal problem or a problem that you have personally faced and hopefully have overcome it, and build a system or build operations in a way that begin to alleviate that problem for others. So for those of you out there that are searching for jobs, whether it's in the healthcare space or public health, community development, any of those type of realms of jobs or environments, find a problem and start working to solve that problem. Yes, so solving problems creates jobs, sustainable jobs, that is. So how did I go from a patient or, an IS major at General Motors Institute / Kettering University to being being a provider, right? Or running a home healthcare agency and then building out eye care for Detroit. How did I do it? Is the question that I get from a lot of people, right? And it's one of the questions posed by viewers of the TED Talk. So let's go there. It was gradual. It's not overnight, graduates. So all of you out there that are searching for that job, thinking about what major you're going to go into, my high school graduates, college graduates thinking about what's next, my tech school grads out there that want to do something really big and make a huge pivot from where you are to where you want to be, your real state to your ideal state. It's not overnight. Here's what you do. Take the next opportunity that presents itself. Okay? That opportunity may be a problem in your community, your neighborhood. Tackle it, take it. Volunteer as much as you can. As you volunteer, you'll be exposed to a network of individuals who are actually boots on the ground doing the work. You will become first of mind to those individuals. So I put myself in a position after leaving Ameritech, I put myself in a position to be a problem solver. When I went into higher ed as a prof, knowing that I wanted to teach, how do I take on the classes that other professors don't want to take on? How could I solve problems for some of the deans that needed to schedule classes? All of this before I became a dean, right? Going to grad school and pursuing a doctorate degree and 2 master's degrees, building upon opportunities that present themselves creates the pivot. Also, if the opportunity does not present itself, you create the opportunity. So, Detroit being home to 40,000 residents who are homebound that lack access to vision, building out a van, a couple of vans, equipping those vans with optometry equipment and ophthalmology equipment, hiring doctors, doing the crowdsourcing and the fundraising to build an organization was an opportunity that I was able to create from taking along the challenges as they presented themselves all throughout my career, whether it was through higher ed, public service, community development, not-for-profit work, and here we are. Now, I know my traditional audience out there is sort of looking at this episode and thinking back to the career and the trajectory. But as a parent or a grandparent, you're also looking at that young graduate and you're like, hey, here's what you need to do. This is what I did. Hey, here's Dr. Moore today telling you what he did and how he got there. All right. For that general audience that I love talking to each week, where we bring on guests, where we talk about Alzheimer's awareness and we talk about cataracts and we talk about a litany of health topics, I want to bring it back to you, your eyes, and my passion for your eyes and vision care. So cataracts, it's rare for someone as young as I was to have cataracts. But let me tell you, cataracts is a leading cause of blindness, right? In our country, in fact, in the world, cataracts is a leading cause of blindness, but cataracts can be addressed and taken care of through surgical procedures. And additionally, as we think about the health of your eyes tell the story. Our eyes speak to us about our immunity levels. So for those of you that may struggle and you say, hey, I think my immune system is a little bit down. I need to go see my doctor. The doctor is going to look right into your eyes and see if they're sunken, right? See exactly what may be going on there. At Eye Care for Michigan, we do retinal imaging. So from those retinal images, we're able to make inferences about other things that may be going on and make the necessary referrals to specialists to get you all taken care of. Looping back to my graduates, thinking outside of the box, when a person thinks about their kidney health or their heart health or even liver health or even onset Alzheimer's or dementia, they don't always think about their eyes. This is what I'm counting on the next generation for. Thinking outside of the box. Connecting things that may seem disconnected to others in a way that continues to solve problems and moves not only folks forward in their personal health journey, but moves whole bodies of knowledge and understanding as related to industry forward. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this episode with 2 more key points. Number 1 of 2, adaptability. in the career pursuit, or even for my aging adult that's out there watching the Home Healthcare Today show every Saturday, like clockwork at 10 a.m., adapting to your current environment. So whenever you retired and slowed down a little bit from a daily pace or a daily regimen, you might have got a little more sedentary. Let's adapt to that retired life. Let's move, folks, as much as we possibly can. In the event that there's difficulty in moving and you need physical therapy or occupational therapy, American Advantage Home Care can provide that. Our sponsor, Meridian Health Plan, can also connect you with a wide array of providers to help you get up and keep moving. Let's switch back to those graduates out there. Adaptability in your career and in your mindset and in the learning trajectory. I just saw Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors. Her advice to graduates is to continue to be a lifelong learner. I echo that sentiment. Keep the learning going, keep it fresh, and keep adapting. Adapt to situations, be proactive about what the next move could or should be, and how to do things simultaneously. How do I learn and do? Apply new learning to address situations, opportunities, etc. As we close this episode, it's very special. I want to close with the idea that promise takes discipline. Okay, so the promise of a rewarding career, the promise of aging in place, right? The promise of not only building a life filled with great work, but leaving a legacy for those that come behind us. It takes great discipline. All right, so in the event that there are challenges, right? For my graduates out there, there's challenges. Of course, there'll be challenges. Take those setbacks as setups. Understand that from time to time, you may have to take a small step back in order to take a big leap forward. So you're telling me, hey, doc, my major is X, Y, and Z, and I should get a job that pays $80,000 a year, but no one's hiring right now, and I don't want to serve tables. I don't want to be a caregiver. I challenge you. I challenge you to take the opportunity that presents itself, apply discipline and integrity to that role, to that position, being the very best that you could absolutely be in that role. Additionally, take care of grandma, take care of granddad, the aunts, the uncles in your lives, the elders, the parents, those in the community that need support and need help. Please take the time to extend care and compassion to those that pave the road for you. All right, that's it for this week. Next week, all right, we're going to dive deep. We're going to go into National Family Health Wellness Day/week. Can't wait to see you on next Saturday.